Hello and howdy there. The other day I saw the new David Cronenberg film Cosmopolis, and I don't really know what I can say about it. This review shouldn't be too long. I don't see how I can talk much about it because I really can't figure it out. If anyone tells you they understand Cosmopolis, that they get it, that they understand what's going on after one viewing, then they're just a liar. They're a big fat liar. Even if they've read the book, this was a novel. Even if they've read the novel, I don't see how they can, unless they are like a scholar of the novel and read the novel many times, only then will I believe that they can crack what's going on in this film. I thought the film was awesome. I thought it was great, but I'm going to have to see it several more times. This is a three-timer. This is a movie that you must see 3 times in order to even, I think, offer an official opinion. It's so layered and so enigmatic that it's just going to take some time. It's just going to take some time. So it's obviously beautiful. It's obviously well directed. It's obviously superbly acted. But what it all stands for, what it all means, what the message is, not so clear. Not so clear. It's just overwhelming. So that keeps me from saying it was like a fantastic experience. I'm giving it an 8. I'm definitely giving it an 8. It's by far the most challenging film I've seen in a while. I can't think, perhaps, Tree of Life, the Terrence Malick film from last year, was definitely even more puzzling, but again, I'm comparing them. Where Tree of Life was more enigmatic and mysterious and confounding, like visually and in terms of, hop-skipping through time, watching, galaxies be born, and yet comparing this to, a Midwestern family. There's large expanses of Tree of Life where there's no dialogue. Here, it's constant dialogue. People are constantly talking, epically, poetically, and constantly speaking, talking. And you know that it means something. And every once in a while, you'll be like, ooh, that's really deep. I need to think about that. But you can't think about it because the characters keep on talking. And, moving right along, and you have no time to absorb. So you have to just wait until the film is over so you can absorb everything as a whole, and then when you do that, you're overwhelmed. And you're just going to have to watch the film several times. Luckily, I think you'll want to do that because it is gorgeous, it's very well shot. The entire film, not the entire, but 98% of the film takes place in a car, in a limousine. I love films that are constrained in space. If the film happens in one room, I just couldn't be happier. Here, a film takes place in a car, with, certain pivotal scenes happening outside of the limo, but again, primarily 98% of the film takes place in the limo. So yet you get all of these varied characters and stories, and you never leave the limo. I think that's, pretty fascinating. It's gorgeously shot. I didn't get the cinematographer. I think Cronenberg has worked with the cinematographer several times. It's, again, since it all takes place in the limo, you could think space would be very, tight. But yet the shots are, expertly composed, masterfully colored. It's just a gorgeous film. and it's in the hands of David Cronenberg. David Cronenberg is one of my favorite filmmakers. I think he's one of America's most important filmmakers. He's certainly one of our oldest filmmakers. He's what I would call a part of the old guard. You know, I think he's in his 70s. I'm not 100% certain on that, but I believe he's in his 70s. He's been making films for most of his career. He's been making excellent films for most of his career. You could say that he doesn't really make bad films. He just makes films that you argue over, you may not understand, and they're definitely not appealing on the mass level. This is a film that you may never see because you may never want to. You know, it's just a guy in a limousine talking. The film, I guess I never said that. The film is about a billionaire, an uber billionaire, young billionaire. He's, I think, 27 years old, 28 years old, already one of the wealthiest men in the country. We're not exactly sure how he got that money, but he did, as you know, as far as I could tell, to do something with technology and computers. Got all of this money. And as I'm sure the wealthiest people in the world do, they live in their own bubble, in their own world. And his own bubble and world just happens to be this limousine, an armored tank of a limousine. He wants a haircut. He wants a haircut on one of the most pivotal and temperamental days of the year. The president is in town. The world is in turmoil, and he wants to go get a haircut, which for anyone else, you know, wouldn't be a problem, but for him, you know, it is, seeing as, you know, apparently everyone wants to kill him. The world is falling apart around him. You know, that's the thing, that's what's so different about it, is it's based on a novel. I'm not going to pronounce the name right, but I believe by Don DeLillo, something like that. Don DeLillo. Cosmopolis, the novel, came out, I think, 2004, the aftermath of 9/11, and it's been hailed as very prescient, as predictive of what was to come. And it does sound pretty amazing that this was made, you know, written, the source material, so, you know, well in advance of our current strife. And that's what gives the film power. I halfway expected to step out of the theater after seeing this film and step into the world of Cosmopolis. I felt that that could be very easily done, meaning that I feel that it kind of perfectly captured an attitude and a tension that exists in the country now. David Cronenberg has always been known about making films that are prescient, that are predictive of what is to come. Now that I'm making this point, I have totally forgotten the name of his, like, grand film. What? Oh, shit, it's got James Woods. Man. Why did that just slip my head? Wow, that's pissing me off. Anyway, it's like one of the films you immediately identify David Cronenberg with. It basically predicts social networking, the internet, social isolation, and did it in the early 80s. Here, it's like you don't want to be in this film. You know, you don't want that to be the world that is, or that will be. But yet, you can't deny it. It's like, I don't know, it's like a battle cry, really. It's like trying to mobilize everyone to try and do something about the world we live in. And saying, is this the way you want it? Is this what you want it to be? You know, there's something you can do about it. Because you don't want to live in the world of Cosmopolis. And it just seemed like I am. You know, it was just a very powerful feeling. It almost felt kind of science fiction in a way. It's just this skewed aspect of reality that's not in existence, but with just a minimal amount of help or just the slightest push, society could be there. The world could be there. You know, again, it's predictive, and it's highly intelligent. David Cronenberg wrote this film from the novel. Apparently, the novel is just a string of inner dialogue. I've never read the novel. I haven't even actually picked up or seen the novel. But apparently, it's just a string of nonstop inner monologue. David Cronenberg took out that inner monologue, instead of made it dialogue with other characters. But they never stop talking. They never stop talking. It's often very poetic, and again, oftentimes means something like, at least in every conversation they have in the film, you'll want to remember an exchange, you'll want to remember a slight piece of philosophy, but again, you can never relax, can never stop listening, can never, like, take a break with a mindless action sequence or something. You have to constantly be thinking, constantly be absorbing, constantly be appreciating. It's the first film Cronenberg's wrote since, I believe, 1997's Crash. He's just went into adapting other works, having other, you know, screenwriters write and adapt their works, and he just directs. Now he's gotten back to writing, and it seems like he's just had this break, and he's got so much to say, and he wants to just comment on the state of the world, where it's at, and where it could possibly be, if we're not careful. Like any other Cronenberg film, it's gorgeously shot. You know, it's supremely well acted. I'll get to the cast here in a minute. It's incredibly acted. It's gorgeously shot. Did I already say that? And everything is slightly skewed in giving it this feeling of, this isn't the world we inhabit, but it very well could be. It's just a slight twist on the world we inhabit. Instead of showing, you know, when two people have a conversation, instead of showing them straight on, you know, like face to face or something, you know, everything is angled. You know, it's either like up and you're just looking down at someone, or you're looking up at someone. You're constantly kept in this state of something is not right here. You know, something could go very wrong at any minute. And like any Cronenberg film, it's briefly and without warning incredibly disturbing. For somehow Cronenberg does violence and gore with this intimacy and realism that makes it feel like you're watching, you know, a genuine snuff film. You know, in this scene, or in this instance, I felt like genuinely concerned for the actor. I mean, I can't even tell you what happens because that would spoil it and just totally ruin the impact. But something, you know, very, very traumatic happens, and it involves a knife, and it involves an eye. And something very traumatic happens with those two things, and it comes pretty much out of nowhere, and it looks and feels incredibly real. And it's, again, comes out of nowhere, and you're just immediately horrified. And I felt, after the scene was over, I was like, is that actor okay? I mean, somebody get him a doctor. He's you know, that's terrifying. His life is ruined. But it's all a movie, you know. But yet, it doesn't feel like a movie. And that is because it's, you know, in the hands of a master, David Cronenberg. The cast is varied. Robert Pattinson the Twilight guy. He was also in Water for Elephants. He was also in an independent film, which I saw in the theater, and I can't remember the name of it. It was like it never got a wide release. It was just like an independent release. I went to a special screening with a friend. I can't remember the name of that film. I've never seen him do acting like this. He's in every scene. The film is about him. He's the billionaire. He's really kind of, you know, a revelation. What are there, 4 Twilight films? I saw the first 2 Twilight films just to satisfy curiosity and to be a part of the conversation. I didn't like the Twilight films. I never saw any interest or had any interest in finishing up after the second one, which I remember as a big piece of crap. But he's just awesome here. You know, again, he's in every scene, and he has to go through every emotion. I mean, really, I think it's an impressive turn, you know, just to show what he can really do. And just to get away from all that Twilight crap and all the tween crowd and show that he can be a part of making something important, which I think he's done here. He's very good. The other main character is, well, someone, I don't think it's giving away too much. Someone is constantly trying to kill him. Someone wants to kill him. And that someone is Paul Giamatti. Paul Giamatti is one of our great actors. I absolutely love Paul Giamatti. He can do no wrong in my book. He makes a bad movie better. He makes a good movie great. And he is spectacular here, as Paul Giamatti always is. So he's really good. There are a lot of actors in this film, but they are very, you know, in it very briefly. They basically have their one scene, their duet with Robert Pattinson, that's just filled with musical dialogue, you know, mind-bending philosophy, riddles, rhyming couplets. You know, it's just different. You know, there's no other film out right now like Cosmopolis. Again, I'd say you'd have to go back to Tree of Life to find something more challenging. We've got Jay Baruchel in it briefly. Oh gosh, what's her name? Juliette Binoche in it very briefly. He has a wife that is also exceedingly wealthy. And it's interesting to see how the extraordinarily wealthy is portrayed, because to someone who's poor, it does seem incredibly accurate, as if they were from another world. That's really the actors I can remember. Oh, a rapper. Kanan. It's like K-A-N-A-A-N, whatever. He's in it. I don't really know him. And there's several other faces that you'll recognize. But basically it's Robert Pattinson's show with, you know, an extended Paul Giamatti monologue. So it, and, you know, they're really hypnotic. There's another kind of main character in the film, and that's his driver, the limo driver. Well, I guess it's his driver. It's his head of security who's always there. I guess he's up front, maybe not driving, but he's always there. You'll recognize him. He usually plays like the henchman, like the bad guy's right-hand man. He's also, he was in Lost. He was in the last season of Lost, again playing like a henchman, sent to find everyone and kill them. You'll recognize him. He's big. This is by far the most acting I've seen him do besides Lost. He's really good here. Again, all of the acting is phenomenal. The film's great. Again, I'm giving it an 8 because there's no way that I fully appreciate it yet. I have to compare it to the Bob Dylan film, Masked and Anonymous, just because, again, you have a series of 2 actors. Well, one of them is always Bob Dylan, but you've got Bob Dylan. He's not really doing a lot of acting. But then you've got him in a scene with one of our great actors, you know, delivering just psychedelic monologues. And this is kind of what this film is like. Just two actors delivering this psychedelic language in a unceasing, rate. Just a really good movie. I can't wait to see it again, but I don't. What else can I say? I can't wait to see it again. I don't know if I necessarily need to see it in the theater. In fact, I don't think I can. I think it's kind of already left. It only was out for a couple of weeks, and that's even here in LA. So if you get the chance to see this film, if it comes to your, city, definitely see it. Definitely see it. It's worth the conversation. It's very important. There's no other films out there like that. I think, again, it says something about our times. It, wants to show you where the world is at right now and show you what it could possibly be, again, without very much effort. I just really think the film is great. I've thought about it a lot since I saw it a few days ago. I still want to just give it an 8. I'll just give it an 8 because, again, it was gorgeous to look at, very well, superior, just, I can't even speak. It's so well directed, and so well controlled, so well written, and so well acted. There's no other film out there like it right now. It's great, but I just want to give it an 8 because I want to absorb it again. I want to know more. And so, yeah, I think I've said pretty much all I need to say. I think it's definitely a highlight of the year. And that's David Cronenberg's Cosmopolis. And I'll give it a solid 8. Thank you very much.